much problem in life, what do? You cry?
Pray.
Okay, you pray. You rise. You rise. How do you rise? By praying, by hoping in the Lord, put your trust in the Lord. You know that in the end, there will be trial. That's the lesson, moral lesson here. I don't care what trials you go through. I don't care if you have to travel far. I don't care about, just believe. Have faith. Overcome the temptation. Just trust in the Lord. In the end, you will triumph. Because God will prevail. Romans 8:28. Everything will happen. And what is good for everyone will be it. Beautiful. This is the core of yesterday's gospel. Now let's our Bible notes. Have you noticed? I'm giving you the readings, the very readings is right here. If I but touch his clothes, the problem with you and with me is when we are plagued with so much problem, we tend to tackle the problems and do the thinking ourselves, forgetting about God. And that's exactly what Jairus did not do, because he sought the help of the Lord. That's one lesson to learn from this. When you're plagued with so much difficulty and sufferings, you run to the Lord. Who touched me? This woman believed that you could do something to make a difference in her life. So she sought you out. How often do you run to Jesus? So Jesus will take care of whatever difficulty you're going through. How much trust do you put in Jesus? That he will take care of things for you. Another lesson to learn from Mark chapter 5. Your faith has saved you. This is so beautiful. Faith in you, Lord, is what inspired the woman to touch your cloak. Now, what she asks for your help. Not only did you help her, you saved her. Remember what Jesus said? Your faith has healed you. Your faith has saved you. Remember, we have been talking about that. While Jesus is concerned about our physical well-being, he is more concerned about our spiritual health. And that's why Jesus said, after he witnessed the faith, your faith has saved you. Lord, I believe that by making my petition known to you. The problem is, the Bible says, and the church teaches, that God knows what we want even before we utter the first word. So why bother to pray? Anyone?
What?
Why bother to pray when God knows what we want anyway?
You don't want to hear it.
John.
Well, I would say that's to the advantage of the person going to pray. It's to tune them into the minimally the faith involved to do something like that.
Okay. Plus it contributes to our humility. Right?
There's comfort in praying. For me.
A lot of comfort, of course, yeah.
A lot of comfort.
The Bible says we should pray. Jesus himself prayed unceasingly all day and all night. So why can't you and I do it? We still have to pray to show ourselves, to make ourselves realize that we are totally dependent on him. Because without him, we have nothing. That's why we still have to pray, even if he knows. Again, there's nothing you and I can do for His sake. Keep that in your mind. There's nothing you and I can do for God's sake. That's why I don't like that how do you call that? That praise? When we are angry, right? For God's sake. You hear that? That's wrong thing to say. There's nothing you and I can do for God's sake. Everything we do is for our own sake. Everything. Think of any exception. You're going to say, Lord, I'll be humble for your sake. What? It doesn't make sense. I'll be humble for my own sake, not for His sake. He's perfect.
But don't I feel sometimes when I sin far in between that I realize my imperfection and I feel like I've hurt Him. So that makes me sad because I find Him to be so close as my next breath, that sometimes I feel I offended Him and I feel sad and He's offended. You know, that He's disappointed in what I just did and said and thought and on and on and on.
Well, in a way that's a plus because that makes you realize what you need to do to correct whatever that is.
Doesn't He feel sad? Doesn't He ever feel sad, you think?
Can we make God sad? Sure.
Yeah.
When we sin.
Exactly. So that's for His sake. No, like you could say, for His sake, do not
Oh,
sin.
that's your point. So for His sake, you not make Him sad. Really? No, that's for your own sake. Still for your own
So
sake.
that's what the people will think. You know, for His sake, don't do it. And if you don't want to make Him sad, just don't do it.
No.
That's what my opinion on it is.
We want to do what is right and what is good for our own sake.
Don't be slick.
Because when you face the throne of God, you'll be made to account for all your commissions and omissions. Those two things.
Commission and
Omissions.
omission.
There are so many good things that should have been done, could have been done, must have been done, and not done. You believe that?
Oh, yeah. One of your stories was one of them. The
What?
old lady. The old lady.
One of your stories, she said. One of your stories, she said.
Oh yeah.
It happens. We all have a story.
She sent me a funny story. I will use it.
Oh.
How to, what's that? Arthritis? What causes arthritis? She sent me something about that. It's funny. I will put it in the, maybe in August. Because I have everything lined up already, so. Next. Monday. Today, determine discipleship. Teacher, I will follow you wherever you go. Would you like this way? I include the readings themselves right here. Instead of just 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. It's one page longer, but it's worth it. So you have all the readings throughout 8 days, right here. And Sunday is all the readings from. See that? It's yours. So for Sunday, we have everything from last Sunday to next Sunday, but for Sundays we have all the readings from first reading up to responsorial psalm to second reading and gospel. They're all here. So this is the story about the lawyer. He gave me orders to cross the other side. A scribe approached and said, "Oh, a scribe, I will follow you wherever you go." And then one of the disciples said, "There, Lord, let me go first and bury my father." That's the story here. And then Jesus answered him, "Follow me, and let the dead bury their dead." What does that mean?
That's a good thing.
Look across that side. I think there are dead people there. They have been quiet lately since I got here. Question is, how can they bury their dead?
Always been
You see how come you're not asking me those? You should ask me those.
I'm very puzzled.
This is found in Matthew 8. Let's look at the story. The scribe was saying, I will follow you wherever you go, but I have to take care of some things first. Then I'll follow you. I'm leading you to the answer. Remember what the scribe says. I will follow you wherever you go. But let me take care of some business first. I will call you, let me do something first. What does that mean? What does that tell you?
To wait.
His reason was, let me bury my father. That's a very touching excuse. My father is dead and I have to bury him first. To the Jews, did you know that to the Jews, there's no such thing as wake, like you and I have. There's no wake for the Muslims and for the Jews. The person dies, within 3 hours should be buried, if not less. Yeah. So why would Jesus say that?
Would that apply to us here? In this part of the country?
No, we have our own tradition, we have wake, sometimes 2 days.
How come Lazarus was buried for 4 days?
What's that?
How come Lazarus was buried for not buried, was kept in a tomb for 4 days?
Yeah, he was buried.
That's already buried?
Yeah, we were talking about buried, right? Burial. He was buried.
Oh.
That's why he was awakened by Jesus from the tomb. Come forth, Lazarus, come forth. They were ready to bury Jairus' daughter. And we're talking 4 days here. For us Christians, oh, don't worry, 5 days, 6 days, no problem. We'll have another week. Yeah, John.
Yeah, you're mentioning the daughter. Is there a particular reason why what Christ says here is presenting some language other than Greek?
You're talking about last Sundays? Yeah. Little girl, I say,
So, for example, I can at least 2 of the occasions when Christ says, be not afraid, including when he appears to the apostles after the resurrection. And it's in Greek. So there's some particular reason why this, and I don't recall which evangelist, but during the crucifixion, there's certain quotes of Christ which are not in Greek too.
Which phone was that? That's yours?
no, I gave my phone.
That was her.
Sorry.
That's your wife's.
But she's,
Should I answer it?
Jesus is more important.
Maybe that's it.
I'm sorry, I didn't quite get it. The question is, what is the difference between be not afraid, Talita Komi, means little girl away, I say to your rights. And the other is what?
So why use whatever that language is, okay,
Disarming.
when in various other quotations from Christ, Sermon on the Mount, the Lord's Prayer, be not afraid, in Greek.
Okay?
Is
I
there
see
some
what you mean.
special emphasis we're supposed to get from this? Is there a particular...
Yes, there is.
Okay.
Remember I mentioned about Jesus wanted to emphasize the triumph of life over there. And then, be not afraid is more general than... Do you remember the conversation between Jesus and the Pharisees when it was Sabbath? And this man who was crippled, and he asked the question, which one is easier to say? Rise and walk? Remember that? Or your faith has healed you. Which one is easier? Easier is, oh, you've been healed. So, okay, go ahead. I'm going. You were healed. That's the easiest way, but people see, they look, okay, he was healed, but he's still crippled. So Jesus said, rise, walk, take up your mat, walk. That's the same word used here, rise. Jesus said, rise, because he wanted testimony. He wanted, that's the word, testimony. Testimony, the faith to be developed among the eyewitnesses. Look, I can make people rise. The dead is put back in life. And especially with Mark chapter 5, when it's mentioned by the commentators very, very specifically that, look at these stages, the 6 stages I showed you here, that the testimony of the faith is so profound and so useful. Remember the temptation that they were saying to one another, why bother the teacher? That's why this is a special reason why Jesus had to say what he said. Arise. Little girl, I say to you, arise. Imagine that. Be not afraid. It's just, okay, be not afraid. It's just like telling me be not afraid. Okay, so I'm still afraid. And then that crippled man, the paralytic, rise.